We're going to go through and make a small little, I think about just a small list. I don't know how many points it'll end up in a minute. So we're going to make a list skirmish force organization chart. So the first thing we need is a H, so a character for the aliens. So we're going to do an alien army. So let's look at the characters aliens have. So we could take a Hive Mother, but that is 200 points.
Yeah, she's sort of like the premier HQ choice, really.
She's the don't fuck with me choice. That's my response. That's its response. Because that is a whopping, what is it? 8 wounds, 24 armor with a minimum of 12 to go to.
Yeah, and a baseline of 200 points.
It does do range 2 melee attacks, plus 4 strength, rate of fire 3, with critical force 2 and deadly.
Yes, she is pretty tasty.
That is strength 18 hits against target. So then there's the Queen, which again quite expensive because quite big. Again, she's quite powerful. But there's also a caveat here, is that like the Hive Mother and the Queen cannot be in the same army. So if you take a Hive Mother as an alien army, so certain units have like restrictions.
Yeah, it's usually thematic purposes, like you say. The Hive Mother and the Queen, one is meant to represent like the ruling queen of a world, whereas the other one is just like a young hive, comparatively speaking.
So what I'll do for first hit is take a Praetorian. So Praetorian is 75 points. So to get that out, I need to pull them out of this bag. So I'm going to use the right click and search the bag first, and find the Praetorian. Dissipated. There he is. So we'll pull out this model here, pull him out the bag and put him here.
And then
locked.
Okay.
So why can't I pick? It's weird. Can't put the Praetorian.
There you go. There she goes.
There you go. So Praetorian's here, so he's at the bottom. So I'll put the models that we put in the list. So Praetorian 75 points. I could give him upgrades, at the minute. What I'm going to do is not give any upgrades at the moment. So I'll go through the upgrade section in a second after we've added the unit in. So the next thing you can see on the chart is we need 2 to 4 troop units. So certain units have different battlefields. For example, Predaliens and like evolved and Praetorians are characters. So they take up that first slot in the army.
But it's also worth mentioning just before we go on there with the Predalien. Always check, because certain characters or units are unique, which means you're only allowed one of this in your army. So budget choice like HQs, you obviously get like aliens have got the evolved warrior, so you could take as many of them as you've got character choices, but you could only take one Predalien.
Yeah, one Predalien. I think it's Praetorian is you can take Praetorian as many. And you'll notice it also has Royal Guard there, which means it also counts as a Royal Guard unit in the army force, because it's the only squad that it decides, basically. Because certain units have like a unit type. So, for example, the evolved warrior says warrior, which means that the only squads that can be put in is a warrior squad, essentially. Because characters can be attached to a squad of Predalien, you can any infantry squad in the army, but you can't attach an evolved warrior or a Praetorian to a certain percent, I believe. So the first troop choice for aliens, they are your regular, your sort of baseline troops. They are not too fast, not too weak. They've got an 11 on CC, so they're just a slight and a -1 for defense. But they do have 18 arm, which is fairly decent-ish for a basic troop of aliens. But they are a minimum squad of to a max of 30.
Yeah. If you've ever played sort of Tyranids and Warhammer 40k, these are sort of like not quite, but I would say these are like your Hormagaunts. You take a big blob of these, it's going to take a load of damage, but it's just going to be a pain to shift them.
Yeah. Now, the next troop choice, so that's fit for an infant. The Unicast infant is the Stalkers. They are your cheap, cheerful little troop choice. They're scouts, essentially. They've got a whopping speed 7, so they are fast as frigging hell.
Yeah, there's not many things in the game that are faster than about a 5 or a 6. There's outside of the
The
vehicles.
hunting bike in the vehicle.
I believe everything else for the
this list. I'm going to take squad of stalkers, so that is 11 points per model. So 5 stalkers is 50.
Yep.
Is 55 points.
Yep.
So
And
I'll
you
again
must
search the bag. Pull out stalker model, and I find it. There it is. Found it.
bring it down here.
So because there's only one of them in the bag, so I want more than one. So what you do is you drag select it, Control C, and then Control V until you have as many as you need for your army, basically.
So
one advantage of a tabletop game is that being virtual is that you can just copy and paste things if you need more models rather than having to go out and buy them.
so as it was mentioned earlier, squad composition. So you always will have a minimum number, in this case 5, maximum number 20. So if we, for this basic run through, we'll just have the 5 out, but as I say, you could go up to 20 if you really wanted to and have a really fast, scary moving unit.
Well, why would you not go to 20? They are terrifying when they're in mass unit. So what I'm going to do, the next troop unit is a warrior. These are your elite troops of your aliens. So they're basically the Tyranid warriors if you play 2K. They are the big, tough hombres.
Yeah.
But you'll notice that a lot of aliens only have a single. But their squad composition is 5 to 15. They are 18 points a model. And they can take up selected to 1 mutation, but they do have, as if you've watched the video with the small little game of Predators versus the Warrior Squad, the Warriors are horrifying in combat.
Yeah.
We'll just go and tear things apart.
Because this is the trade-off you've got to look at. Warriors are pound for pound probably the strongest of the 3 basic options, but they run up 7 points more than a Stalker, who's got a lot of speed and redeployment shenanigans options, and double the cost of an infant. So the infants, the stat line is worse,
not the best,
but you've got
they
2. So you've got 2 for every 1 warrior. So you've got a little bit of a balancing act. You can decide. So warriors can go toe to toe more with the bigger things, whereas infants are more along the line. Warming your opponent.
And the infants also have the lovely special rule of blinding speed, which when making a charge, they gain speed +1. So when they charge, they are speed 6.
Yeah.
So that means they get a 12-inch charge rather than a 10-inch charge.
And granted, as well, if you looked at the little video with the sort of unit special rules, you've got swarm with infants. So if it's like I say, you might have 2 for every 1 warrior. If you get the charge on the warrior, suddenly you've got getting more and more innate advantages. So you just got these pros and cons to weigh up with making your choices.
Yeah, you get extra strength for charging as a warrior, but the infants, if there's like 3 of them in combat with 1 person, they have +2. Every single one that attacks has +2 strength to their attacks because there's 2 other guys. Same with the Stalkers, they're a swarm unit, so the more of them there are, the better they are in combat.
Yes, so you'll tend to find with aliens, the weaker ones, they work better big units, whereas warriors can cope with being a bit more of a mid sort of size.
Well, what we'll do for this list is I will take 5 warriors. So again, as before, it's search the bag. So we're only making a minimum list. I'll pull out the warrior unit. He's here again. And he's now locked himself to the table for some reason.
There you go.
I don't know why I can't pick them up when I drag them out of the bag. Weird. So again, it's because we need 5 of him, so it's 1, 5. So we have a basic skirmish force. That's 1 character, 2 troop units. We're just taking the basic troop units aside. So now, as you can see before, if you've looked at the stat line while in the video, you can see that the Stalkers can take a single mutation, and so can the Warriors. While the Praetorian can take, I think it's 3? 2, sorry. The Praetorian can take 2. So we'll go to the first page of the aliens, the army. So as you can see, aliens have mutations. Mutations is each squad can be upgraded. So the first cost, for example, for Attica, +2 is 10 for points. So +2 is the point cost per
There's
model.
one
squad.
in my laptop bag, actually.
1 point is so. For example, in this list, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give the Warriors. I'm going to give them an ability called. I'm going to give them a. Where is it? I'm going to spend 1 point per model. Sorry, 2 points per model to give them armored plating. So that gives them +2 armor. So to represent that is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 points for the whole squad. So the way we do it to make it so that your opponent can know what they are in this mod is right-click on the model. If you click on the description, you can then type in the upgrade. So in this case, it's armor plating. So that's that. That way, if you hover over the Warriors, they all say armor plating. So for the Stalker, we can't give them the speed upgrade that they can take, which is a adrenaline boost, because it's a max of speed 6 and they are speed 7. What we can do, if I wanted to give them an upgrade for saying this, I might want to give them powerful hind legs, but because they already have the ability, because that's what they're good at. They have leap 6. So let's have a look at the powerful hind legs ability. Does it have a maximum it can increase the ability by? I keep putting the page too fast. Powerful hind legs. The one already has leap, it gains leap +2. So that allows them to leap 8, which means that they can move over a 4-inch terrain if they want to jump.
And in fact, if they only wanted to make a move action, they could move further than the base movement.
Yeah, they can just jump over something, jump forward, and then make a charge action if you so desire. So again, right-click them, select them all, right-click, and then put the upgrade in the description. So powerful legs. Again. So now we've got the Praetorian that has 2 upgrades. So the Praetorian, because it's a character, pays the secondary cost. So what I might do is have a look at what it has base first. So it has Frenzy, Fear, Heal, Royal Pheromones. As Royal Guard, it has Duelist, Ferocity, Impaired Weapon, CC Relentless. So it's very good in combat. What it will do, what I will do is I will take, so its armor value is
23.
Yeah, armor value is 23. So what I might do is I will spend the 10 points for it to give it armor plating, so that increases its armor to 25. And again, do that, right, add it onto the description, and then because it has one more upgrade, so I can take a second upgrade. What I will do so what size is Praetorian? It is size 2. Ooh, that is actually quite good. I will take 5 points, pressurized pulmonary. So again, because it's because it's 1 point for a squad to take, it's 5 points for everyone else to take it. For a character to take it. So I will take it on a character, it's 5 points. So the Praetorian now is Pulmonary is again. So that list, aliens, is so the Praetorian is 75 points, +5, so 80 points, +10, so it's 9. So that's 90 points for Praetorian. Now the Warriors are 18. Oh, never mind.
I believe we had a little bit of a incident there with connection there. So saying here that each alien is now 20 points a model, so that will be 100 points for that unit.
Oh. It's good news you went continued it because that's up to spit again.
Joys of Discord.
Mm-hmm.
So
I was trying as I was saying, Praetorian armor plating, pulverized pressure attack. So that is a 90 point Praetorian.
and then 100 for the warriors. And then stalkers, 11, power behind legs, 13 model, which is 65 if I've got my maths right. So total list of 255 points.
Yep.
Really small list. If you wanted to, you could probably throw in another unit or maybe a few more models to the units here. Maybe some face huggers potentially for some fun there. As may have mentioned in a previous video, it's always worth sticking, I think, to about the skirmish force organization chart up until around about 300 points, I would say. And then after that, yeah, you could go a little bit bigger points values, but after that point, you're sort of wanting to look more along the lines of the standard force organization chart once you start getting around about sort of 500 plus, I would say. This has the exact same minimum restrictions, but it offers you so much more options on the alternative stuff you wanted to take. So if you really want to just have like a Wayland Yutani themed force, you could have your Wayu commander as your compulsory character. You can get then his couple of troops for your core requirements, and then you've got your extra support you could take of them, so you could have a nice theme force along that sort of lines. But then you've got these other charts here which are more sort of along the lines of thematic in the case of the heavy, I would say, sort of going like I'm taking some hard hitting things more so in my list, so more monsters, ability to take the heavier vehicles and transports. And then the Gargantuan and Mega Force organization charts are like those really big games where they don't increase the amount of characters you must take, but you can take more of them. But they do increase the number of troops you must take, and then the availability of the other options. So these are more like your really big, like use a 40k analogy, your apocalypse, sort of leaning at the end of the choices there. Usually, I'd probably recommend staying around the standard organization chart if you're playing the basic level of the game. Just so then that, because as every model activates individually, it can become a little bit time consuming if you go bigger than that sort of level. Because
larger games, it's best to use the. There are rules for playing large page after all the deployment missions. Right, the advanced rules here. So there's a way of playing larger games, large scale. Also, fumble plays the same. It's roll 20. Models that fumble do not lose any remaining AP though. So 20s don't mean. So if your unit shoots something first and one of the guys rolls a 20, you don't lose any in the difference. The other difference is like abilities. If when a player wishes to use any model's ability, all models in the squad must spend the resources to use it. Stun effects only apply if half the unit is stunned. Target priority is just ignored. But you must direct all your attacks at other squads. And must only attack any weapons with their main. One in the top their main. Missile launchers and snipers are exceptions. Coherency, you can never leave it. And if for some reason the model is out of coherency, the whole squad must make a movement to return to coherency. Action points. All squads must use AP to perform the same action. It's like 40k if you play 40k for. Hello?
Yeah. Oh. Lost you there.
I know, I'm mid-talk.
Yep, so let's say charge up.
Large guys is 40k.
Yeah. So it just helps streamline it a little bit more for those big games. So if you are going over, I'll probably say somewhere along the lines of either the larger force organization charts or probably 750 points, rough guess.
I found at 300 points it starts to drag a little bit because at 300 points I had like 2 massive units of 10 guys.
Yeah, I think it all depends on the model number. So if you're going for
playing aliens, it's possibly better to use large scale rules when you start going above 300 points.
Yeah,
generally because of the alien faction's going to have more models on the board.
Yeah, Predators probably don't care either way, realistically, because a 300-point list has only about 3 models anyway, realistically. Whereas the Marines are a bit one of those ones where if you can get them up to a certain level and they're going to start to slow down a little bit like the Alien. But say it all depends on what you're playing to and from. If you're playing, say, Predator on Predator, you could probably go quite large and it doesn't matter too much because your choices are a bit limited between you. Whereas the moment an alien comes in, take these large scale battle rules just helps streamline the game a little bit.
And I think, and that's about everything. That's about everything as far as I know. Unless there's anything we missed. Oh, we didn't talk about the resource cards. And I've died again.
No, I can still hear you.
Talk about the resource cards. Attaching squads, character squad. Try to find what the rules as X is, basically, for a unit. I think it just means he counts as one of those units who joins the squad. Oh, counts as, there it is. No, it counts as X.
Go back a second. If any model or squad strong counts as X-type squad, that means they're affected by all in-games affecting the X-type squad, but does not necessarily have all the X-type squad special rules and abilities.
So Praetorian can go in any squad he wants. He counts as a Royal Guard as well.
Yeah, so if you have any special rule which goes Royal Guard do this, it's affected by it potentially.
Which is the Queen's special rule that I think Royal Guard nearby have bodyguard. So Praetorians get bodyguard when awesome. I think it's.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much everything we really need to cover for the basic thing.
Yeah,